Number 8, Sarah Judd. Number 9, Castique Williams. Number 11, Annie Thompson.
For your audio.
Welcome to Arizona. We're here in Mesa at the Jesse Parker Field at the Mountain View High School. My name is Michael Simeone. I'm joined by Laura Tan. She goes by LT. Home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders. We'll pause.
good with brotherhood from sea through shining sea.
A windy evening tonight, LT. We're under a wind advisory until 10 p.m. What do you think that's going to do to the game tonight?
Well, if my ride over to the field is any indication, my car was shaking, so I think the disc might take a couple of different traveling paths. But these are professional players, and we'll be excited to see how they control the disc to run the kind of offense that they want.
Arizona coming off a close one in Colorado 2 weeks ago. Talk to us a little bit about what they'll be looking to do, trying to bounce back with a win here.
Well, thinking about the season in general, this is a situation where they really want to win. It's a short season. It's a 6-game season. They had a tough loss last week, and they've got a tough schedule ahead. So when we're looking at playoffs, only the top 2 teams from each conference are going to advance, and so this is going to be a really key game for them to solidify what they're doing on the field and make sure that they're in a good position for the rest of the season.
And Utah had an impressive comeback win 2 weeks ago against the Bay Area Falcons. They were down 4 or 5 points at one point in that game, and they managed to rumble back and win in overtime. What do you think they'll be looking to accomplish with their first road game of the season?
Well, what would feel really good coming off of a great come-from-behind victory would be a road win. So starting their season out 2-0 would be great. Again, great come-from-behind victory against the Bay Area Falcons last week. That gets them some momentum. You know, a road win in tough wind conditions, that would really be a great start to the season.
Yeah, we saw that they demonstrated some facility with zone in that first game, really clogging the middle. What do you think the Sidewinders do to try to bypass that in conditions like this, which are even windier than what we saw the Wild play in 2 weeks ago?
The Sidewinders have a great handler package, and so I think that they're going to be able to facilitate the disc. I think obviously with any zone, playing against any zone, you're going to be looking for control, along with being able to break open some of those spaces to really open up the space downfield to score. But there's going to have to be a nice balance between wanting to push the disc down the field and needing to respect the wind.
Yeah, and that's something that the Utah Wild demonstrated really nicely in their comeback victory, was control in the handler set. What did the Sidewinders have to do to slow down the handlers on the Utah side?
That's going to be interesting. We saw in that victory last week, we saw Paige Kircher really, she was exploiting the middle of the field with, some upside down throws, a couple of bladey throws, and so I think the defense is going to have to see what they're giving them and adjust to try to take away things as best as they can.
Yeah, and the handler set, if you had told me that Kat Songer had run 20 miles in that game, I would believe you. It seemed like she never stopped moving there, too, was able to generate some opportunities for her teammates, even on just resets in difficult conditions. Arizona going with a roster mostly similar to what they played in the last 2 weeks. They've added Madison Spiegel, who is new to the roster this year. They are without Cody Lippincott, who is on the injury reserve for another game. LT, talk to us a little bit about what the loss of Lippincott means for this game.
Yeah, having an experienced player like Lippincott who's physical, who will go and get the disc, but also just play excellent defense. I think the Sidewinders are going to be hurting a little bit without her, but they have a deep roster. They're looking for other folks to step up into that space, and so we're excited to see what other players are doing to help support their teammate.
Yes, when you have a player who's literally a Sports Center highlight and they're not on the field in conditions like these, you're going to have to find a way to adapt. Sidewinders now taking the field. They will be pulling, and we've got the Utah Wild receiving first point of the home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders 2024 season. We're about to be underway. LT, if you had to say if this is an upwind point or not, could we even guess? The wind is swirling right now. I want to help the people on the stream understand what way the wind is blowing, if you will.
I could guess.
Yeah, so if you are watching online, the wind is blowing towards the end zone that the Sidewinders are currently pulling from. It looks to be pretty consistent, upwind, downwind. And we'll keep our eyes peeled throughout this to see how it affects. But the real story here that we're dialed in on, LT, in our conversations before the game is how are these teams going to stop each other's handlers? Both teams with those very dynamic handlers, and handlers are going to be important in win like this. We are moments away from the beginning of the game, and Carly Steiner, number 4, is going to get us up and going for the home opener of the Arizona Sidewinders. To Kircher. Kircher searching downfield. She's guarded well by Kay Powell, and that disc has got to go away. The shorter stall count of the WL coming into play there, LT.
Just 7 seconds to be able to move the disc to a new player, and you see that with some of the traffic in the middle, not really a lot of good options, and just sailing over the field.
O'Connor here picking up for the Sidewinders. Powell looking for something. O'Connor's going to take a shot right away, looking for Dunn. Dunn's got it. Is she in bounds? Not quite.
Trying to Callahan that back in. A tough way to go.
Not the easiest play. Dunn on the mark here. Another turnover for the Wild. That's looking for Perquette. But the wind blows it to the turf. Amy Norris now on the mark against Carly Steiner. Steiner known for her long throws, even in wind. Powell clearing up line. It's going to go high. This is going to be challenging for Petty. Excuse me, Maxfield. And that's going to be a terrific grab. Utah Wild able to capitalize on the turnover. A little bit of a back and forth, but it's going to be a hold for the Wild, LT.
Yeah, the Sidewinders started off that offensive point. Looked like they were starting off in a horizontal stack, and just not a lot of options available. You see them look for the reset and not able to get anything off on that, and resulting in a turnover.
Sidewinders now taking their first offensive point of the night. Wild did a nice job of using the wind as part of their defense to force that high throw. Now, a couple weeks ago, Utah Wild was not bashful about bringing out a zone defense. You think we'll see that here, LT?
They might. They had a good deal of success last week with that, and so we'll see what kind of formation they come out in.
Relatively short pull here. And no help by the wind unless you're wearing a green jersey. And this is Paige Applegate, one of the centerpieces of the offense for the Arizona Sidewinders. Applegate checking in. She has Laura Aragon as the dump. She goes by LP.
Looking like a high stall count.
Applegate happy to send it into the end zone and make the Wild go the full 70 upwind. And this is Vespera Aragon in a tough corner of the end zone. It's up and over. It looks like a turn, and we've got a turnover. Looks like Kez Gazelle got her hands on it. Now she'll facilitate, and it's Chip Chang. Sidewinders hold.
And the Sidewinders being aggressive to come get that disc in the midst of wind that is really just going to wreak havoc on this game. And so being aggressive, being able to pull down that disc and transition to offense really quickly, punching in a score.
Yeah, that cone that the Wild picked up on, that's going to be a very undesirable place for the rest of this game.
And you see Chip Chang going out and getting it, hauling it in for that point.
Sorry, LT, I stomped all over your replay package there. I'll have a better heads up next time. Sidewinders looking to play defense from a tough spot here. Sidewinders have a lot of height on this point, LT.
I wouldn't know what that would be like, but I'm sure that it's great.
Good pull here. Looks like there's a call on the field.
We'd like to give a Special thanks to our observers tonight, Paul Otto and Brian Bradford. Fans, remember not to have movie observers.
A violation on the pole means an advance to half field for the Utah Wild. Wild looking to operate in the middle. Wild looking deep. This is Williams. Williams can't quite get it. Sidewinders are going to have a chance to dig and go the whole 70 upwind. We saw how difficult this was for the Wild going this direction. This is O'Connor picking up the disc.
And that wind just continuing to take the disc, floating, floating, floating all the way back towards the end of the end zone.
Both teams like to throw it deep. Both teams are going to be tested tonight in these conditions. Here's O'Connell. She has Steiner. Steiner sees Thomas. Thomas is off like a rocket. Thomas to the turf. She's got it. This is Maxfield in the end zone. She's trying to make something work. Bradley to come to the rescue here and help Thomas. Now Steiner looking at the whole end zone. Steiner, invert, and O'Connor's got it. Call on the field. It's going to go back to Steiner.
Throw is going back.
Sidewinders on the doorstep. Can't wait to get a replay of that Cynthia Thomas catch. But here the Sidewinders are lining up.
Stack is deep here, LT. You think that the Sidewinders want them to be closer. This is going to pop up again. O'Connor's just right here. Steiner takes a slip, but she's able to maneuver. Sidewinders knocking on the door here in a great position on an upfield break opportunity, and it's going to sail away.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing a lot of aggressive cuts out of the end zone, and so the handlers really got getting stranded back there.
Sidewinders got to be disappointed in that one. The disc is going to go up from Songer. Looking for Kircher, a handler-to-handler attempt here on a deep shot.
Here comes the Thomas look. You can see her at the left of your screen. She starts taking off. Here comes this laser, but Cynthia able to just run and grab that disc.
Back in the action here, O'Connell working with O'Connor. Here's Steiner. Back to O'Connor. O'Connor's going to send it. Here's Cynthia Thomas again. She's trailed by Hruzhnikova. Terrific play by Hruzhnikova to chase that down.
And again, in this direction, the wind holding the disc up, holding it up so everybody can get position underneath it, making it a much tougher catch.
Sidewinders lining up again, looking for a short turn here.
Now let's make some noise. See if you can help your Sidewinders get a stop here against the goal.
The Wild. That's Cass Williams, guarded by Bradley. Upfield to Hruzhnikova, checked by Thomas. Deep look opportunity. Maxfield on the mark here, putting in work. And that's going to go to Perquette. Back to Songer. Songer's looking for Hruzhnikova, who does. Is she in? She's got it. Terrific toe drag by Hruzhnikova on a key play.
And the Wild was really looking deep a few times on that point. You could see that they had one good deep option, cycling in and out. And so able to haul that one in for a great layout by Hruzhnikova.
Pause to take another look. Or not. Sidewinders LT have got to be kicking themselves about that lost opportunity for an upwind break.
Yeah, that's a tough one to take again. Trying to be pretty aggressive with that throw. You know, when things work, you want them to work again, but that didn't seem to be the case this time.
Last game, Sidewinders had a big gap between their stack and the handler set. We saw a little bit of that emerge in that end zone set. Certainly things to work on if they're going to pull this out.
Yeah, we'll see how the spacing works out. It looks like sometimes if they are a little bit crunched up, maybe they're being a little bit cautious about the wind, but that's really leaving the defense a lot of options to just get in the way and really not allow them to claim their own space to get open.
Here's LP to Applegate. Applegate. Doyle can't quite get it. Sidewinders back on defense. And the Wild can't get the first throw to work. Applegate's just going to send it. This is Kez Gazelle. She's got the speed. She's got the position. She's got it. Landry to clean it up, and the Sidewinders have a score. Crowd absolutely through the roof on that play, LT.
Gazelle just taking off downfield, and the Sidewinders taking advantage of that downwind direction, putting another point up on the board.
Finding Gazelle in the last game was something they prioritized, but it didn't always work. That throw was right on the money.
Getting a replay here. We see the turnover from the Wild. Applegate to pick up and puts it deep. You see Gazelle even taking the contact. Nice and easy into the end.
Sidewinders back on defense. They were successful in really extending the point and extending the possession. Couldn't quite get it done with the break. Let's see what they can get done here. A good pull for the conditions. It'll put it just past the 40. Sidewinders getting into position really quickly. Kircher sending it to the sideline, back to Kircher. Kircher looking downfield. Not a lot of space for her. She's going to send it. It's going to sail high. There's a chance. Wild have got it. Terrific move in transition. This is Harushnikova. She's looking for a chance too, and she's got it. Terrific work there by 48 Kat Songer. She's everywhere today.
Well, and there's that solid vert stack that we saw out of the Wild last week. Really just working like clockwork, swinging, moving the disc around a lot, and yeah, Stoller with a key pickup there too when the disc was hanging. She was able to bring that down even though she wasn't the intended target. And this throw going up a little deep, still able to read. Harushnikova not quite in, taps it back in. And a little flip for the score. Sidewinders back on offense. All the scores have been in the end zone on your right, viewers. The downwind end zone. Here's Applegate. Active mark by the Utah Wild. Here's Chip Chang. Chang looking for Gazelle. Gazelle goes up. Two-handed. It's going to get sent. Looking for Pisani. A valiant attempt. I think, that one didn't really get up in the wind as much. A little bit more of a flat throw. A little too much pace on it for Pisani to be able to catch up. You get the sense the Sidewinders are happy to just bury it in this end zone. Take those shots. Sidewinders on defense. It's a flat mark. Pushing that disc wide. That's where a lot of the mistakes have been. Here's Gazelle on the mark. The disc is going to pop up. It's on the turf. Applegate picking up. Sidewinders in transition. Quite a throw in the air. It's contested. It's on the turf. It's a turnover. The Wild have got to go to full 70. I'm not sure I really saw a clean end zone set there. Really looking to pick up and punch it in, but not able to convert there. Stoller. Getting another chance, though. With the turnover. Terrific person defense by the Sidewinders to clog the middle there. Applegate. First dump not there. Second upline opportunity certainly there. Chang looking in the end zone. She's going to send it back off to Applegate. Applegate's still shopping that far end of the end zone. Applegate's going to try it. Oh, and squeezing it in. Squeezing it in. They are excited. Able to convert that score even after a couple of turns. Carly Garrett in the right place at the right time. Narrow window, but it worked. LT, things looked pretty crowded in the end zone set there. What did you see? Again, the spacing, I think people are excited, right? Knowing the Sidewinders knowing that they're going in this direction. means that they're able, that they want to take advantage. And so here you see, like you said, Applegate looking and able to throw that inside just right.
That's 2 goals in a row now in this end zone where scoring or not has been decided by a great first step by the receiver. Garrett there with a good first step to get herself just enough breathing room. Here's Steiner on the pull. Pull's going to come down about half field and out of bounds. Sidewinders mixing up their D-lines here.
A little surprised I haven't seen more zone or any zone yet. Mostly looking like person D.
Powell on the mark, trying to fluster the Utah Wild. It's going to go right in the middle. Perquette is able to corral it. Powell back on the mark. Active, going to force it low, but Staller can grab it. Steiner on the mark. It's going to go wide. Another chance to get an upwind break here. Not the easiest. Certainly hasn't happened yet tonight. O'Connor's running to Steiner now. O'Connor's got it again, and we've got Eifert breaking away. She's close to the end zone. The disc is going to hang. It's going to be knocked down. That's going to be great work by Paige Kircher on the cover. Maxfield now on the mark. The disc is going to hit the turf. This is a short field. This is the best chance the Sidewinders have had in a while. Eifert's got it. She's found Dunn. Done so careful lately. O'Connor up the field. Timeout, Sidewinders.
I think that's a smart move. I think being on the doorstep on the upwind end zone represents a great opportunity. Really trying to take advantage here.
Yeah, we saw in the Alpenglow game Mel Dunn operate out of that corner several times and had no turnovers when put in those situations. Looked really hesitant to turn it over that time. Wasn't going to take any risks. Timeout now is going to get him a fresh look at the end zone.
Yeah, we're under 2 minutes in the first quarter. Score's tied up at 3-3, and so I think this is a really great opportunity to take advantage of. You don't want to let little opportunities like this slip away.
Arizona Sidewinders. You'll find highlights from your favorite players.
Arizona here probably going to be tempted to work in a really small space, LT, like they did on their last score. That disc has been hanging every time it's been swinging towards the direction of the cameras.
Mm-hmm. And with a little bit more setup, you know, not trying throws that are going to be hanging up in the wind, looking for a little smaller, shorter, quicker passes, really trying to hit someone in the breadbasket so that they can make sure that they can reel that in.
Let's see what Coach Hugerich, Coach Barker have come up with.
Bringing the disc in will be Chang.
Chang with the Sidewinders to check it in. Applegate at the dump. Chang's just going to flip it up. Here's O'Connor. O'Connor's got it. The Sidewinders have a break. Maggie O'Connor last year played for LA. She's in Arizona now, and she's got a meaningful break here in the first quarter.
Making her presence felt. Was not the way that I had talked about writing it up, but putting it up in the air and asking your players to go up and get it, showing some good trust between teammates there and saying, I know that you're going to come and bring it down.
Yeah, watching games last year, how many times did we see Maggie O'Connor use her body so successfully to seal space and allow her to make plays in the handler set and then away from the disc as well? We got to see a nice sample of that on that score.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get a replay of that. But being able to see that in the corner, you can see that she's just able to hold that space for her own, come down, pull down the disc.
Arizona looking for back-to-back breaks. And now the Wild are faced with the daunting task of going upwind on offense in these conditions. Steiner with the pull. A nice long one here, going to bring us down past the 20. Terpstra now back.
I see a little junkiness going on here.
Kircher, Terpstra, and Song are working together. That disc hits the turf. Petty has it swatted out of her hands.
Strip call.
Strip is called. Possession remains with the Sidewinders. Kircher reaching in there, but a little too soon. O'Connor back with the disc. Here's Steiner. O'Connor. She finds Petty. Going up line. Petty finds O'Connor again. Gazelle left unabated in the end zone. Eifert manages to grab it with both her hands and both her knees. Eifert in command here, looking for O'Connor. It gets knocked away. Sidewinders are back on defense.
Breakup by Matt. Marquette.
Small space is haunting both teams here, LT. Sidewinders playing catch-up now. Haruzhnikova operating on the sideline. Sidewinder looking like they're running a zone now, that they've got a downwind defensive position. Stepping right through the zone. Here come the Wild. They're sending it way deep. Here's Cass. Williams checked by Paige Applegate. Applegate's able to get just enough of a hand on it. It's a stop.
I believe that was for Carly Steiner.
Oh, Carly Steiner. Excuse me. Carly Steiner's able to get her hand on it.
And again, going in that direction, the wind just holding everything up.
And here's a turnover the Wild love to see.
Oh,
But
and a
they
quick
will
trade.
repay. They will repay the courtesy for now. Steiner with the disc. She's going to send it to Petty. Petty, who can't wait to send it.
Oh, tough drop in stride. Just can't quite keep hold of it.
Martinez was wide open, couldn't quite get it. Petty looked delighted to see it offered. Sidewinders can't string together at this time. We're going to have a timeout. The Wild have some thinking to do.
Wild 3. Your Arizona Sidewinders 4.
And that'll take us to the end of the quarter. I thought they were able to fit in a timeout, LT, but we are at the end of the first. And we are Arizona 4, Utah 3, a close one, just one break between the two teams. LT, what do you make of how these teams have been approaching the conditions and what's been getting at them?
I mean, I think being, taking advantage of going downwind, trying to make that work for them and doing the best they can with the upwind. We're seeing them try to broach that upwind end zone, but those discs hanging up there are really not doing anyone any favors, and it's just a tough road to hoe. So, are they going to adjust and try to do something different going upwind? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's really felt like moving the disc side to side has been especially difficult for both teams this time around.
I would agree. I haven't really seen a nice side to side. I'm not sure if the wind is affecting that, but I'm seeing a lot of clumping in the middle. Partially because of the zone that you just saw that the Sidewinders were running, and then you saw a couple throws break free and then them try to launch it to the end zone, but really not spreading side to side, and I think that's going to limit offense's options when they're not really able to move the defense around with their throws.
Yeah, and we talked at the beginning of the game about the defense on the handlers. What do you make of both teams' attempts to try to slow down the kind of high-octane handler play of both sides?
Really haven't seen that on lockdown yet. Honestly, the wind more of a factor is what I'm seeing. Just, a couple of rushed throws, a couple of bobbles here and there. And so that's the piece that, both teams are going to have to dial in because it's a factor for both of their teams. But I'm not really seeing that it's the defense necessarily that is locking down the handlers on either team.
Yeah, you get the sense that if the Sidewinders want more breaks, they're going to have to continue to try to or do more of a job of taking away some space from Terpstra, from Songer, from Kircher, who again have, this has got to be a frustrating experience for any handler in these conditions. But they showed flashes there of really being able to pass through a zone at an alarming rate. Sidewinders on offense, this is going to be an upwind point. Sidewinders on offense. Utah Wild to pull. It's 4-3, fresh clock, 12 minutes in the second quarter.
And again, we got 3 quarters to go. Teams are smart. They will make the adjustments they need to. They're all just feeling each other out at this point.
Chang to LP. Applegate. Doyle. Doyle's going to send it. Disc is centered to Chang. Applegate already more dynamic and in space here. Applegate looking to attack the sagging zone of the Wild. Sidewinders can't stay still here.
Well, again, I'm really only seeing them, well, now they're moving to the other third of the field, but in that first portion, really just half field all the way towards the booth.
Yeah, we're seeing Applegate just be air traffic control and moving things around really nicely. Here's LP. She's got Gazelle. That's a streaking Doyle, but caution is the name of the game for the Sidewinders for now. Chang has got the disc. She's going to find Doyle on the far end of the field. Doyle's got Chang. Chang's looking at the end zone. Pick called.
Pick call.
Collision in the end zone is going to stop play. Sidewinders are going to get a look at the upwind end zone.
I'm really liking the Sidewinder offense a little bit better this point. As you can see, they've been, after getting out of that first section, they've really been moving side to side a little bit better, and the defense is really having to cover more ground.
Applegate, great upline take there. She's free. She's looking in the end zone for an upline. It's Chang. Chang's got it. The Sidewinders have a goal upwind.
Chang with her second point. Doing it on both ends.
Upwind motion, up line motion, helping the Sidewinders there.
Yeah, and we talked about, holstering those throws into the upwind end zone, and, LP Aragon had a look there, decided to rightly holster, and the Sidewinders able to pass the disc around, spread it around, move that defense around, and get some end zone. Get some end zone goodness.
One thing that I want to come back to for just a minute while Sidewinders are about to pull for another defensive point, just the level of control that Applegate was able to exert on that point, and then Aragon working so well with Chang there, and then Gazelle towards the front of the stack. Really terrific work by the Sidewinders there. This is Steiner pulling. It's going to be 5-3 Arizona, 10:51 to go. That's Kircher
Well, we
to
talked about
Terpstra. Really tough defense by Spiegel there. It's going to be a run through by Eifert. Arizona with a terrific chance here.
Alan Eifert with the D.
This is O'Connor looking off Steiner. She's got Eifert, who's going to make another terrific play. She peels it off the turf. Eifert's going to send it to Maxfield. Maxfield can't quite get it. That's going to be a tall order. Sidewinders back on defense.
Well, and what I was going to say, Michael, was that we talked about the handlers being key to this game. You saw on the last Sidewinders point, the handlers really asserting themselves. You were talking about Applegate and Aragon controlling the pace, really quarterbacking that field. We're going to want to see the same thing out of the Wild facing this zone. Woo!
Terpstra, then to Songer. Songer can't quite get it to go. Steiner's picking up. She's got it centered in the end zone. This is downwind. It's going to be give and go with O'Connor. Steiner looking to O'Connor. It's too easy today.
Those tiny, tiny spaces.
Another score by the Sidewinders. Trying to fit that on the smallest space possible, but it's working for now. Let's take another look at this one. Get a nice look at the spike, but I think we get a nice perspective there on just how tight quarters were on that far side of the end zone.
Yeah, coming out to the outside to come in and get that score. The outside of the handler.
Sidewinders finding a way to score on a 5 nanometer process. Back on defense going upwind.
Well, and I'm a little bit surprised with the Wild. Their handlers have been so dominant. People talk a lot about the Kircher-Songer combination and, their mental telepathy really driving their team's ability to score. And In this situation, it's felt a little bit more rushed, maybe. And again, I don't know if that's the pressure that the Sidewinders are putting on, if it's the wind, if they haven't adjusted yet. But again, I expect the team to come out a little bit more strongly, but we'll see what they put together here in this next sequence.
Thomas on the mark. Terpstra looking for Songer. Songer's got it. She's going to send it up and away. O'Connor to chase. Not able to grab it. That is Kircher on a deep shot. She's going to flip it over to what looks like number 24, Sarah Staller. Terrific handler motion there, LT.
And Kircher saying, well, I don't have to be in the handler spot to do my work.
Yeah, and when we watch them play the Bay Area Falcons, number 58, Kircher, and number 48, Songer, push downfield frequently. Let's take another look at the score.
The game is recorded, so you'll be able to see that score at any time in the future.
You can just hit back on YouTube, and you'll replay it just as well, too.
It's the magic of technology. It'll still be the same.
The Wild really showing what they can do when they open up the field a little bit. Sidewinders need to be mindful of that motion. And LT, to your point, that seems like the Wild responded by opening the field up as the Sidewinders tried to clamp up the handler space. Sidewinders on offense. Here's Chip Chang to Paige Applegate. Applegate and Chang working together in the middle here, not holding it for too long. Applegate directing traffic, as is her specialty now. LP Aragon. This is a zone in the front and person in the back. Finding Landry. Landry's just going to send it to Garrett. Garrett is up and away. It's a little too far.
Just a little too much. I'm curious, Michael, about the spacing of the handlers. Again, I know that we're not wanting giant crossfield swings, but I am seeing a lot of very small passes. I'm curious what you think of that.
It looks like the Sidewinders are really trying to beat this zone with short passes, and clogging the middle with that three-person formation is daring them to swing it in big, long swing passes. And so really trying to stifle that if they can. It's going to be a great opportunity for a break point here. Actually, forgive me. It's going to be a hold opportunity here. Paige Applegate now picking up off that quick Sidewinders turnover. Traffic in the middle. Applegate surveying the end zone. A quick fake. It's going to be a high release. It's to Landry. Landry's got it. Sidewinders hold.
Just that cheeky little high release, sailing it into the end zone.
But back to your point, we were prattling on while amazing action was happening. But if we can talk for a minute about how the Sidewinders chose to address that zone, it really did seem like they were trying to avoid the temptation to send those long swing passes into the wind. I think previously Utah had done a great job of luring them into making those throws, and the conditions are just not supporting that. And so by being able to walk it up the field and cause that zone to make small adjustments until a window opens up, you saw Landry was just waiting for that and made a terrific cut.
Yeah, and that hole really came in through the middle, right? So again, not spreading the field, they're making adjustments to not have to take those long swings, but that means that they're looking for the middle.
Sidewinders. Defense here, going upwind again. This is Caroline O'Connell sending it downfield. It's going to hang, touchdown just in front of the 40. Here's Spiegel on the mark. It's going to be a no around. And then Kircher's just going to beat up line and then turn on the Jets. Here's Bradley with a stop. She sniffs that play out.
Bradley had that well covered. She was behind her woman and ready, looking for that to come.
You know, this is another streaking deep Utah Wild player in this downwind conditions. It was a great reaction by Bradley to get her arm in there and poke it out. Digging to the turf now. O'Connell.
Looks like a pick was
play.
called. And it is a pick, and the disc is going back.
This is Taylor Hicks with the disc. She's back with O'Connell and Bradley. And a handler set upwind, looking for the break. Perquette checking Hicks. Bradley clearing behind. 27. Janet Wan, and just in time, Eifert can't grab it. Kircher picking up. Kircher looking to send it across the field. Disc is going up into the end zone. It's clapped by Stanislavski. Stanislavski is calling a foul on 31 Bradley.
The crowd has feelings about that, as crowds do.
This foul is contested. Let's see if they take it to the observer. 5.5 to go in the second. Arizona up 7-4. Consequential call here as Bradley looked to poke it out of Stanislavski's hands. Stanislavski calling it foul. Looks like there's going to be an uncontested foul called. Stanislavski's got the disc. Stanislavski's got a wide open receiver. That's Lily Terpstra. Wild have managed to put it in now. 7-5, 5 minutes to go in this half.
And Stanislavski with the assist there. She had a monster game last week. Stat leader across the board with 4 assists, 4 goals, 3 blocks, and making her presence felt with an assist right here.
Sidewinders with a chance there, but couldn't quite cash in on the upwind motion. Looks like they're conferencing on the sideline to talk about that one.
Eifert with a great effort to try and grab that disc that sailed away, but it was not to be.
The Wild now on defense, looking to work it upwind. Just down just past the 50. Sidewinders led by Applegate. LP Aragon looking downfield. Conservative approach so far by the Sidewinders in the second quarter. Chang finds Aragon again. Here's Landry with a nice cut to the sideline. Doyle offering in the end zone. Sidewinders keeping it cool. Landry back in the middle. Garrett able to save it. Garrett working with Landry. Disc sails high. It's going up and out. Sidewinders are going to be back on defense. The Wild with an important opportunity here. 4 minutes to go. They trail by 2. A break here would be important for them. Applegate on the mark. Trying to send it out and across. It's in the turf. Chang's got it, and then back to Applegate. Sidewinders take it and score it.
That's a big deal for a 3-point lead. Chang just getting it done today.
At the 4-minute mark now, second quarter. Things change pretty quickly there.
Yeah, the Wild were staring upfield with a full field to go, and just a quick change of fates.
We just talked about this end zone being one of the worst places to be as we get another look at this score. Sidewinders back on defense. They're going to try for an upwind break opportunity. Sidewinders have been successful in generating turns on these upwind opportunities, matching up well. That pole's going to go past the 40. We're on the 35. And we'll see what response the Utah Wild have right now. Cynthia Thomas on the mark. Williams to offer something on the break side, but the marks are holding right now. O'Connor, Terpstra able to beat Thomas up line. Terpstra's going to send it upfield. Bradley on the mark, trying to shut things down. Sidewinders want this to go as slow as possible. Kircher working against O'Connor. Kircher doesn't seem to have a lot of options. She's got to flip it up. It's going to hit the deck. O'Connor now for the Sidewinders. Sidewinders crushing downfield. They're far away. They should be careful. O'Connor is going to send it to Thomas. Thomas has got it. Thomas to Powell to O'Connor. Boy, O'Connor looked like she just wanted to throw it out the back of the field just there. O'Connor with some momentum. She's got Petty downfield. She'll holster. Here's Powell looking to offer up line. Finding Steiner. Steiner with some big throws upwind lately. Steiner's going to send it backhand. It's going to go to Maxfield. Right into the hands of Thomas. Maxfield. Bradley to the turf. A twist of fates. Puts the disc back in the hands of the Sidewinders. LT, I can hardly believe some of the change of possession we're seeing right now.
I don't get speechless often, but have to hold it here. Let's see what the next
O'Connor's just going to
brings.
send it. Here comes Steiner. She's running it down. Steiner's got it. She slips out the back of the end zone with an upwind break.
'Twas meant to be.
Carly Steiner with a score. Throw by Maggie O'Connor.
I am barely catching up with what just happened there.
It's been a quick turn.
We apologize for some technical difficulties with our replay. LT, I've got to think that the Sidewinders have got to feel pretty good about some of their solutions for working the disc upfield. Some of the red zone completions not working out, but as the game goes on, we're starting to see them reliably on this half of the field going upwind. They've got to be feeling confident about that.
Yeah, you can tell from their body language that they're feeling more confident with their throws going upfield, and I feel like they have more options than they had in the first portion of the first quarter where they were just sending it out there. Now they're saying, like, okay, well, we can do other things, right? We can pass the disc around. We can look for other options, and that's just leading, asking the defense to make different decisions and taking advantage of where they can.
That's going to be Songer to Kircher. Stanislavski. The Wild sending it deep. This is to Sarah Stoller. Janet Wan on the cover. She's able to get it. It hits the deck.
That's a great D. She was tracking it all the way, had to turn her body, and still able to punch it out of the air.
O'Connell now in a great position downwind with big throws in her pocket. She's going to send it. Here comes Mel Dunn. Mel Dunn's got it with both hands. That's Spiegel. Spiegel's going to send it back to Juan. Here's Bradley, who's able to save it out of the air. Back to Juan. Juan's able to find O'Connell. O'Connell's going to send it through the hands of Martinez. Sidewinder still applying pressure here. O'Connell on the mark. That disc is going to go on an IO line. It's going to go high and out of the hands of Stanislavski. Martinez and Dunn on the cover. Here's O'Connell. Another look downfield. We've got Dunn breaking underneath. That disc is going to skate across. And it's going to go right to the Wild. Wild now with a chance. This is Kircher working against O'Connell. Kircher's going to swing it. Wild looking to move it left or right now. And then into the hands of Stoller. Stoller's going to send it back. It's going to hit the turf for turnover. Sidewinders with a great chance now. We've got 15 seconds left in the half. It is 9-5 Arizona. Can they build their lead? It's going to be a timeout. LT O'Connell. O'Connell wants another look. Our clock says 4 on the cast. We've got 2 in the stadium. 2 is the official time. 2 seconds remain. The Sidewinders are going to get one more possession to try to finish this half out with a score. LT, what do you look for in a situation like this?
Well, first I want to remind the viewers at home or wherever you may be that this is not a sudden death situation. This is a last possession for the team that has the disc, but this is not a situation where the team has to put it up and score before the end of the half or the end of the quarter.
Right, time expires. As long as they maintain possession, they'll have as much time until the disc is turned over or there's a score. Let's see. Now in the WUL, it is permissible to do an entire personnel changeout during a timeout. Let's see what they go with here. It does look like they've put in their offensive line. Yeah, we've got Chang, we've got Applegate, we've got Aragon. This is the Sidewinders O-line. Sidewinders on offense now. Kendra Miller on the mark, trying to slow down Paige Applegate. We've got Doyle going straight to the end zone. Time has expired.
Time has expired. Play will continue until the end of the possession.
Play continues until the end of the possession, which is right now. Applegate can't quite get it. That is going to be our first half for the home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders. Arizona 9, Utah 5. Utah will be receiving on offense at the beginning of the second half. Thanks for joining us on this one. We'll see you on the other half of the break.
Come to Ski Town, August 17th and 18th in Salt Lake City. There will be women's, mixed, and open divisions. Email skitownclassic@gmail.com if you're interested. Our bid form is coming out soon. You don't want to miss it.
Number 7, Giants and Chargers, Justin Herbert. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute here.
Nope. Looks like that's Western Ultimate League Frisbee. I'd know it anywhere.
It looks like Cody Lippincott, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laying out, well done.
All right, so I'm going to just guess.
But it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh, my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw.
B by Cynthia Thomas.
I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. Don't know about you. I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro.
A great toe by Melissa Dunn.
Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yeah.
Powell puts it. Number 4 with a beautiful reel in. That is Carly Steiner.
Sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. We getting it. My skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby.
Welcome back. We join you for the second half of the home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders. Arizona 9, Utah Wild 5. If you're just joining us, it's been a windy evening. If you've been following along, you know it's been a windy evening. Upwind, downwind. Sidewinders now pulling to the downwind end zone. It's going to roll out of bounds. And we're going to see what the Wild can put together. Wild so far unsuccessful in being able to work it all the way up the field. They've got a short opportunity here. Let's see what they do with it. This is Kat Songer. Songer working against O'Connor. Sending it to Williams. Williams surveying downfield. She needs a dump. She's going to send it to Eifert. Eifert's off and running. Chang is going to send it right into the end zone for a score. Into the arms of Lauren Pisani. Sidewinders off with a bang. Able to generate pressure early and then send players streaking to the end zone. It's 10-5. We'll take another look. Got a nice look at Pisani's spike. Pisani rewarded there for stretching the field. LT, Pisani is a young player, but the pressure she's able to put on defenses with her speed and sending downfield, well, we got to see the fruits of that just now. Sidewinders now, an upwind defensive point. This is Steiner to pull. Long pull here. Relative to the conditions, it's going to skip to the 35. O'Connor on the cover. She's looking to slow down Songer. Songer's such a great player. She finds Norris. Norris bypasses Dunn on that one. And that's Williams who sent it back to Songer. Checked by O'Connor. Disc is sent deep. That's Sarah Stoller with two hands. She's called in. The Wild, for the moment, have a score. There's some discussion on the field, LT.
Looks like a pick call.
Have another look at that play.
See the stoppage on the right side of the field. Looks like that was Steiner who put her hands up.
Sarah Stoller just so good in that deep space. Pick did not affect the play. Here's Dunn slowing down Stoller. Norris surveying the end zone. Sidewinders frantic trying to stop this. Here's Eifert who hits the turf trying to stop things. Terpstra's on the ground. Looks like there's going to be a quick stoppage here. That's a yellow card on Eifert for going over the back of the legs of Lily Terpstra, who still managed to grab it. Some significant contact. Terpstra now checking in. Her options look limited. It's going to get sent to the corner, though. Hruzhnikova brings it in for a downwind score. The Wild answer.
And again, starting the second half, we can't count out the Wild. Kircher and Songer are 3 and 4 in the stat leaders for thrown yards after week 1. We're talking about 372 yards, 355 yards. This is not a team that is going to go lightly.
Sidewinders back on defense, looking to apply some pressure in a downwind situation. Oh, forgive me. Sidewinders back on offense, looking to keep the pressure on the Wild by scoring downwind. Difficult to see here, but the wind has just picked up significantly for this pull. It's going to go high and curl back. It's far out of bounds. Sidewinders looking at a short field here on a downwind offensive stand. A storm is blowing in. Applegate checks the disc in at center field. Initial motion to Garrett. Garrett sees Landry downfield. She's looking for a dump. It's knocked away right away by Miller. Short field now. Great chance for the Wild. Can they capitalize? Timeout called for the Utah Wild. They don't want to waste this chance.
Yeah, and Miller feeling rather than actually seeing that D. It looks like she just sort of had her hands out. She was huge in last week's win against the Falcons in the comeback. A couple Ds, 3 Ds, I think, down the line during that critical point in the late third quarter and going into the fourth quarter.
Sidewinders looked a little crowded on that dump set. Sidewinders looking to stop this one. It's important for them to make sure the Wild don't get any kind of momentum by getting an upwind score.
Yeah, and the Wild were down 4 last week and came charging back on the strength of their defense and, of course, the prowess of their throwers. So, again, more difficult throwing conditions, but this team is not afraid.
Just checking in momentarily as the Utah Wild attempt for an upwind break, their first of the game, if they can pull it off. 8:50 left in the third. This is Kircher. She's flanked by Songer. Let's see what the Wild have in store. O'Connor on the mark. O'Connor crowding that inside window. It's good defense. They've got to send it back. There's stoppage on the field. Pick. 2 players collided. Powell and O'Connor chasing Songer and Kirchner back. Songer's going to send it up. Steiner on the cover. Thomas to the rescue. Steiner looking downfield. She's not going to waste any time. She's going to send it to Thomas. Thomas has a chance here. It's going to get tapped away. Miller with another block. Sidewinders in a much more comfortable position to play defense now. Petty. They got around Petty. Sent it to Songer. Tough. But the wind takes over. And now O'Connor will pick up for the Sidewinders. Working together with Powell and Steiner. Powell with an opportunity to swing it, but the Wild doing a good job of covering it. It's going to skate along the ground. I don't think there's any way that was up.
Well, we talked about this earlier in the game, Michael, about the spacing. Again, the stack just looking a little too deep for the handlers to feel like they have good options.
And here's Songer as a handler cutting from the back of the field. She's going to send it downfield, but Maxfield's got it covered up, and the wind has done the rest. Wild really struggling to move the disc upfield here. Sidewinders can't afford a short turn in this situation. O'Connor's just going to send it to Thomas. Thomas has been electric in this game. We'll pick up the disc near the 20-yard line. This is Miller looking to get things moving quickly. Bradley on the cover now against Perquette. Sidewinders playing hard. Disc is swinging. The Wild now fading a little far away from their handlers, but Miller to the rescue. They're thinking about sending it. Here's Songer. They're having a lot of success now, weaving in and out of the defense of the Sidewinders. The Wild now knocking on the door of the end zone. Can they get a break? Songer, she's going to dart it in. It's going to get tipped away. Petty with a timely block. And Sidewinders fans are breathing relief here. The crowd is screaming for the team to throw it to the other end zone immediately. which I have to say LT is a bit of a tell. Disc is going to curve, send out of bounds, past the 50.
Well, we're doing a little playing for position here.
Here's O'Connor working hard. But it's going to go to Perquette and now to Kircher. Kircher with a nice I.O. pass to Stoller. Stoller back to Kircher. O'Connor chasing Petty, who came up with a block moments ago, but it's going to be in the end zone. Pick called. Score called.
I see a sign for a score. Mm-hmm.
Stoller's got it. It's an upwind break. Sidewinders now have the task of an upwind hold.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the Wild really looked like they were feeling more confident on that point. It was a tough turnover right in the red zone, but marched it right back again.
Arizona 10, Utah 7.
Yeah, that weaving motion on the far end of the side, on the far sideline, very effective. The Wild have got to feel like they've broken through a little bit. We'll see how the Sidewinders respond. We've got 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go as we take another look at this score. Sidewinders taking it slow. This is Chang, who dives to the turf to save the play. To Gazelle. Here's LP, who sends a nice dart to the far sideline. Page is able to grab it. Excuse me, Applegate. Now Applegate looking for LP, who's happy to find Landry all the way across the field. Landry and Aragon working together. Multiple offers in the end zone here, and Chang so strong to bring that in, but not able to keep the throw in the air. Wild with a chance here, a break opportunity. Aragon looking to seal. Aragon with a hand block. Applegate finishes the job.
Throwers, no throwers. She knows what she wants in that situation. And Aragon puts the hand out.
High stakes situation here, Aragon. Things are crowded. Physical defense. This is Applegate. Observers are going to come in here. Possible call on the play. Our observers are not mic'd up tonight. We don't know an exact case that's being made here. But there's some dispute about the contact. Observers happy to walk away. Foul, no contest. Things intensify. Applegate looking for options. She's going to send it inside out. Too far for Aragon. Aragon's looking to put some more pressure on the Wild with another great opportunity. They can go downwind now. They're going to send it. That's a streaking Utah Wild player who makes an amazing dive at the turf. Addie Thompson, who's terrific last week, almost made it happen, LT.
Well, and again, the Wild, they know what they want. They want to send it. They want to get it down there. They're going downwind. And they know they need to score quick, or they want to score quick.
Another turnover. Gazelle not able to grab that one. Some good defense by the Wild. They're in prime position to get another break. Here's Chang on the mark. Wild now. Right into the hands of Chang. Here's Applegate, who's streaking deep to stretch the field. Trying to unblock some of the congestion around the disc for the Sidewinders. This is Garrett to Landry. Applegate offering deep, opening up some more space. Aragon unable to grab that one. It was a bit behind her. Sidewinders are back on defense. It's going to get sent into the end zone. Landry trying to make it happen. It's going to be a goal for the Utah Wild. Stacy Gaskill
And you can see from the ferocity of the head spikes that Wild is on the rise.
Gaskell ran right through that crowd to make that catch. Terrific play.
Here comes a replay. You can see Gaskell making her move. She's got 2 defenders on her, but she is laser focused on that disc.
How about the spacing there also to find that downwind? Really just a perfect shot. On a night of certainly imperfect shots, we can appreciate a perfect one. Sidewinders on offense going downwind. We're at 10-8 with 1:52 to go in the third. Sidewinders need to turn this around. Crowd on their feet for the Sidewinders. Wild sending it low, just past the 40-yard line. O'Connor working with Powell. This is a little bit of a different line here as we try to give the O-line a break. A terrific run-through stop there. Abby Davis again with a great play. She's able to block that one. Sidewinders are back on D. Miller. Inside shot. It's errant, and it's a turnover. We've got Carly Steiner, typically a defensive player, picking up here in a tough spot. Let's see what's on offer. This is Doyle. It looks like it was tipped, and it's far up in the air. Now it's the Wilds, and there's going to be another call. A lot going on there.
Yeah, they didn't quite come out of her hand the way that I thought it would.
Yeah, Sherwink got up pretty high to grab that one to get the interception, or really timed her jump nicely. All right, we're back underway. The Wild now in a tough spot. They've got to go a long way now. And that disc looks like it's going wide, but it's saved. Mackenzie Finnegan with a great rundown. Kendra Miller in a great spot. She's going to offer it. Here's Doyle. Can she make a D? Timely block by Doyle. The Sidewinders are still alive here on this offensive possession.
Just over a minute to go in this third quarter. Sidewinders really hoping to be able to put this one away, hopefully with a 3-point lead.
Sidewinders can't afford a short turnover here with a minute to go. It's just 7 seconds on the stall count. Sidewinders call a timeout. We'll have a stoppage of play. Sidewinders want another look at this one.
If I'm the Sidewinders, I've seen on a couple of the last possessions that they're punting for position, really trying to get out of that a situation where they're in the short, defending a short field. I'm wondering if they're going to move back to that kind of move again.
Yeah, I think the Wild have adjusted really nicely on the mark to stop some of those downfield throws. They're really keeping the Sidewinders from easily stretching the field on some of these downwind plays. It's been a really nice adjustment. Let's see how the Sidewinders are able to free up some space for themselves to attack downfield.
And again, throwers knowing throwers, right? So throwers knowing this is what I want to do if I'm going in the downwind position. And so making those adjustments with the downwind defenders saying, okay, I got to stay behind. I need to anticipate that this is coming, and really just doing a nice job defending those spaces.
Yeah, it's been multiple shots in a row by the Sidewinders that they have been targeting the end zone, but the throw has been pushed wide, and it's made all the difference for the Utah Wild.
We'll see what they come up with here, starting in that corner.
Sidewinders with a staff change here. Looks like we've got the starting O-line, or much of the starting O-line, back on the field. Supplemented by Dunn and O'Connor. It's going to be a vertical route. Run by O'Connor, chased by Gazelle. No chance there. Utah sniffs it out.
Yeah, and Wild had 2 players going back again, anticipating that throw, knowing that that's what they want. not high percentage throws going off here, even if they are getting the position.
We've got 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Big possession for Utah. Trying to move the disc up the middle. It's successful. Can't imagine how that wasn't a walk.
A little miscommunication there.
Turnover now, Applegate. She's got 18 seconds. Sidewinders need this one. She's just going to blast it. Landry's chasing it down. Landry's got it in her hands. The Sidewinders got a big score here. 11-8 Arizona with 3 seconds to go in the quarter.
That is what they wanted out of that possession. Maybe not the how, but the end result is definitely something that they can be in support of. We're 11-8 going into the fourth quarter. Have to feel good about maintaining at least some boundary between them and the Wild, who seem to be on the rise.
Looks like we got a replay here. LT, talk us through it.
So you see Applegate here looking at her options. She sends it, and again, this downwind, not pushing it too far. Landry able to get enough time to center under it and bring in the score.
Perhaps wiser viewers than me thought that was going to be a completion, but when that first thought went up, I thought it was going to be the same old story we've been seeing in the end zone, which is the wind pushing it too far away from the receiver.
Agreed. In the earlier part of the game, you really saw the wind taking those and really sailing them much more quickly. This one hung up a little bit longer. Landry able to get her legs under her and haul that in.
Final seconds of the third here. Utah gets one possession as the clock is now 0. Play is going to continue until the end of the possession. Turnover ends the quarter. A score ends the quarter. Hruzhnikova with a terrific dive to save the play. This is Kircher working with Hruzhnikova in the backfield. Hruzhnikova is able to find Songer. Songer's going to blast it. Can she get? Williams can't quite get there. Terrific sequence there by the Wild, just out of reach. That'll wrap up our third quarter. Arizona's holding on to a 3-point lead after a big offensive hold going downwind, but a flourish by the Wild. We may get another look at this play.
Just a little out of reach.
Yeah, Williams so versatile. You know, we've seen her come back. We've seen her stretch the field. But that wind is no joke in trying to blow it out of reach in a situation like this one.
But I do notice more of the disciplined vertical stack out of the Wild on that last possession. That, again, that's the offense that we saw last week that really led to a lot of scores for them, really running their system, trusting the system, and being able to use that to their advantage to be able to score when they want.
We've got 11-8. Your screen shows 10-8. We've got 11-8 in the stadium here as we're staring down the fourth and final quarter of the home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders. It was 85 degrees today. It's getting to be chilly now here in Mesa at Jesse Parker Field. I have no idea what the wind's doing. I know the banners are still flat and pointed towards that end zone on the right.
Truly a desert night here. Hot days, cooling off into the night.
Anyone caught heckling the observers will be assessed a 20% surcharge at Boulders on Broadway at the after party.
Sidewinders are 12 minutes away from their first win of the season. The Wild in a familiar place, starting a fourth quarter, trailing behind. I can't think they're daunted by this situation right now.
No, and I do, you can see it in their body language that they are executing on what they want. Maybe not every pass, but this, again, going back to the system that we've seen work so well for them, is giving them a lot of confidence, and I'm sure they'll be looking to do more of the same in this fourth quarter. What do you want to see out of the Sidewinders in this quarter? That third quarter was maybe a little, maybe not quite the result that they wanted, but still able to maintain a 3-point lead. Michael, if you're the coach, what do you want to see in this fourth quarter out of the Sidewinders?
Well, I think the spacing needs to return. I think sometimes, the Wild are doing a good job of crowding whoever has the disc. And I think just returning to a little bit more moderate spacing is going to give them some success. Sidewinders now on offense, going downwind, an important hold. Sidewinders content to trade for the rest of the evening if they can.
Let's make some noise for the start of the
Stacy Gaskill with the pull, and the Wild will begin the quarter on defense. That disc is going to skip out of bounds. LP Aragon will be bringing it in for the Sidewinders. She's joined by Applegate and Chang. And this horizontal stack, LT, is pretty far away to my eye.
Again, with the
But
spacing.
what do I know? Look at this wind. Landry's off and away. Can she get there? This one looks a little far, almost. Sidewinders back on defense.
Sidewinders knew what they wanted out of that play, just not able to execute quite right there.
Apparently the stack wasn't deep enough. Gazelle on defense. Brought up by 44 Gaskill, who had that terrific catch earlier on. Here's Kendra Miller. Makes it look easy. She's checked by Lindsay Doyle. Doyle putting on a hard mark. Wilder at half field already. And that's a catch by Wallen. Wallen's going to send it to Miller. Miller has been so instrumental in these wild breaks. That disc is going to go up. It's contested. Here's Gazelle in the air.
Great
She's able to
D.
save the play.
She was right on that one.
timeout Wild before the throw.
There was a timeout called before the throw. Possession will remain with the Wild. We could hear the buzzer go off in the stadium.
And that's the buzzer for a timeout.
Possession remains with the Wild.
Timeout Wild.
Once again, LT, they haven't gotten a lot of looks at the end zone this close on the upwind side, so they're going to measure twice. Big defensive stand by the Sidewinders. A big opportunity here.
Mm-hmm. And that one just getting away, you know, slinging a little too hard, going into this end zone. Maybe thinking about the earlier conditions where the wind was holding it up. But again, wind changing throughout the course of the game. We've seen the speeds, you know, come up and down, and that one just a little too far.
It feels like a barrier has been broken, though, in that the Sidewinders have been content to throw it to that end zone kind of whenever they like, because the Wild haven't been able to work it up the field. But now that the Wild are really working it up the field when they get the chances, it's almost like the Sidewinders can't quite be so cavalier with sending the disc into the end zone like that.
That's a great point. I mean, in that kind of situation, they're really playing defensively, even on offense. And, you know, again, would be content to trade. But if Utah starts to convert some of these breaks, they are not going to be able to rely on that kind of offensive offensive strategy throughout the end of the game.
Sidewinders with a lot of work to do on defense right now. As the players set up. Looks like the Wild have cycled in some personnel too to add some offensive experience. They're going to look to score quickly.
I see Cynthia Thomas on 34.
Yeah, Kendra Miller. That disc is knocked down on the ground right away. Megan Maxfield, another key block. Here's Cynthia Thomas. Cynthia Thomas sees Petty. She wants to send it back to the middle of the field. Carly Steiner now to Kay Powell. Kay Powell, Carly Steiner, back to Kay Powell. Sidewinders looking pretty packed into one side of the field. O'Connor doesn't like it. She's going to send it deep. Here comes Megan Maxfield. Can she get it? Not quite. Sidewinders have a much more favorable field position now, and importantly, 2 minutes are off the clock in the quarter already. Here's Maxfield on the mark. Wild looking to break. Here's Bradley on the mark, trying to send that back to the middle. Sidewinders looking for a forced middle. Here's Powell. She's able to get in the way. Back to Steiner. Steiner to O'Connor. O'Connor looking downfield. No angle she likes. She's going to slip it to Steiner with a nice IO over to Bradley. Bradley's going to send it to Petty. Petty back to O'Connor. O'Connor's on the run. This is dangerous for the Wild right now. And an amazing dive. That play by 14, Abby Davis.
Like a slow-mo dive while that disc hung up in the air. What a great effort. Just full extension there.
Terrific dive. It's a contested foul right now. Petty claims that she had control over it. Or perhaps there was contact? No foul. Great play. Abby Davis to the rescue. Here's O'Connor on the mark against Kirchner. That's Stanislavski, who's able to zip it upfield. Sidewinders look like they're out of their forced middle for now. The Wild moving it well back across the field. And they're able to find open cutters downfield for the first time on these upwind possessions.
Hands
more
are
and
up
more.
here. Looks like there's a call.
Pick call downfield. Players are starting to fatigue. We've got 8.5 left. It's 11-8, Arizona Sidewinders lead. Sidewinders trying to stop an upwind score by the Utah Wild. Wild able to send it to the sideline. Stanislavski surveying. Checked by Petty. She's going to zip it across the whole end zone. Let's see if Steiner can do... Steiner looking to make some kind of play, get in position. Gaskill able to grab it instead. Great sequence for the Wild. Timely defense there.
Well, and here we are under 8 minutes. For the viewers at home, our clock does continue to run until we get to the 2-minute mark. So for the Sidewinders, if they are wanting to put the disc in position farther downwind, that's been working for them if it's eating time off the clock. Again, a bit of a gamble, but it's one that they are choosing to make here. Now they're heading upwind, and so we'll see what happens next.
We have 11-9, Arizona lead. They are facing an upwind hold. If the Wild want to come back in this game, they've got to get a break right here. Here's Arizona. Aragon to Applegate. Applegate. And that's going to be dropped by Garrett.
Short field for the Wild.
More late game drops for the Sidewinders. We saw this in their last game against the Alpenglow. And it cost them the game. Can they recover? That's going to go high. That's going to be caught. Stacy Gaskill again in the clutch.
Gaskill reading that nicely with a little bit of an over-the-shoulder look.
We are down to a 1-point game here with 7:12 left in the fourth. Sidewinders now looking for a downwind hold. This is the toughest spot they've been in all night.
And again, the adjustments, right? So we've seen them throw for position. We've seen them try to make those things happen. And now we're in a 1-point game with just over 7 minutes left. Will they continue to use this strategy, or are they going to make adjustments? That remains to be seen.
Here's our pull. It's going to be short. Sidewinder starting in favorable field position. We've got 2 cutters streaking deep already. Here's Pisani on offer. Landry's looking for a dump. Things look crowded. Aragon to the rescue. Aragon's going to bomb it deep. Here's Landry. The wind's going to make it a little more interesting than it could be. Landry's got it. Her feet are in. They're calling it a goal. What a hold.
What a toe in. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Take another look, LT.
So here's Landry. She's actually putting it to LP Aragon here. Takes a jog down the middle of the field and is looking for that corner. She's tracking the whole way. What a grab. Just what an incredible grab.
Landry with a Statue of Liberty grab in traffic after running full speed. And just when the Arizona Sidewinders needed it, we're 12-10 with 6.5 to go. Sidewinders looking for a break. As big a D point as there has been for them tonight, LT.
They're going to need a stop here. They're going to need something to hold off the Wild, who are going downwind for this point.
If we look at the personnel of the Wild, they've got height and speed on this line. It's no mystery what they're going to try to pull off here. A quick score and then try to get back on defense. Here's Spiegel trying to break up the play. That's going to be a deep one let off. Somehow caught. O'Connell almost had the block, but Williams able to dive and recover. The Wild are alive. And now running through Madison Spiegel, able to get a timely block. The crowd is on their feet from this one.
Spiegel, one of our younger players, exciting for her to be in such a big moment.
Sidewinders looking to move it quickly, but not too quickly. O'Connell to Bradley. Bradley just past done. The Wild are back on the attack. More of a straight up mark here by the Sidewinders. Ruzhnikova. Now back across the middle for the Wild. Wild able to find another spot. They're in the red zone. Here's Songer. She's going to send it up past one. It's a goal. The Wild are able to get one. Amy Norris.
And you see Norris pulling that one down with a soft little land into the hands. And I'd been saying, here's the Sidewinders throwing downfield. They're throwing for position. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that it does come with risks. The Wild able to sidestep a risk there with Williams being able to pull in that nearly blocked throw, and again able to put that score in.
Sidewinders on offense. They have a 12-11 lead with 5.5 minutes to go. Great defensive sequences by both teams there. It really is the narrowest of margins tonight.
I am on the edge of my seat. Literally.
Sidewinders to receive just past the 40. Garrett to Gazelle. Gazelle's going to put it to Applegate. Applegate got some offers deep, but she's going to send it to the middle for Aragon. Aragon's going to send it inside out to Garrett. Landry's charging, but we're going to reverse directions to Chang. Chang looking to make something happen. She's got Gazelle. Gazelle's in the end zone. The Sidewinders hold.
I think the big play on that point was Aragon opening up the field with that little inside break. Again, moving the defense over. Then you see the Sidewinders switch fields again to the far side. Really just a nice offensive move there to be using both sides of the field. There you see Chang pulling it down. That's after LP Aragon broke it open on with that inside throw and just a little flip for the 13th point, their 13th score.
Gazelle's first step there, just instrumental and just getting a step and a seal. Sidewinders are on defense. An upwind break would be an earthquake right now. Steiner to pull. It's got some decent distance for tonight. Past the 30. Can they capitalize? O'Connor's right on Kircher. Utah Wild sending it up and across. Stoller's got it. Wild now pressured by Eifert. And that disc is going to go far and to the ground. Here's O'Connor. Sidewinders with an opportunity for a break. O'Connor's got Maxfield. Maxfield's got Dunn. Dunn's just going to send it to Juan. It's a little too far for Janet Juan. Or Jessica Martinez. Excuse me. Great offer by Martinez. Eifert now on the mark. Sidewinders back on defense. Kircher's just going to send it. Steiner covered it up pretty nicely there. The wind picks up as the Sidewinders take possession. Martinez with a great cut. Martinez to O'Connor. O'Connor sees Dunn deep. Now to Eifert.
Just one of those that you hold on to a little too long if you're thinking.
Out of Eifert's hands, but maybe into Eifert's hands.
Eifert gets it back. She wanted that one back for sure.
Sidewinders back on the attack. We've got 3.5 to go.
And she's taken off deep.
Here's Dunn. That's Dunn to Steiner. Steiner to Dunn. Dunn's got a chance. Dunn's taken off. The disc is hanging. Dunn's got it. Martinez now complimenting Dunn nicely. She got downfield so quickly. Here's Eifert trying to make it happen. Eifert's got it on the end zone line. Dump space is congested. O'Connor looking at Steiner. She's going to try for a break. It's going to go to Eifert. A diving grab by Eifert. Break for Arizona. 14-11 Arizona. 2 minutes, 54 seconds to go.
Helen Eifert was all over this point and caps it off with a sky of a kick spike.
Maggie O'Connor with the assist. 2.5 minutes to go. Your Sidewinders.
That's a picture-perfect layout. You gotta love that.
Yeah, just when we thought the space was crowded and we were going to see another version of a turnover by either team here, O'Connor just pivots, finds that break space, and Eifert is more than happy to bring this point to a close.
Sidewinders showed a lot of composure there. You know, they get close to the end zone, not trying to jam it into tiny spaces, not just trying to force it in with the urgency of being close to the end zone. Taking their time, resetting, finding good spaces.
Yeah, and Martinez was able to deliver some kind of timely relief cuts there. Just when the stall count was getting high, she was able to break into the lane. Here's O'Connell. Sidewinders, downwind look. They need to slow the Wild as much as possible. Thomas able to poke it away. Sidewinders can close the door on this one, but the Wild too resilient to give up on right now. O'Connell facing stiff defense. That's Janet Juan with a great cut. Here's Bradley looking for the dump. She's got O'Connell. Ever closer now, the Sidewinders getting this break. They've got Juan with a great cut up line. She's looking for another teammate. It's going to be a goal. Taylor Hicks sliding on her shins, rocketing up line.
And you see the dump back here to Bradley. She's surveying the field. O'Connell with a great catch, going down to the ground to come get that. To Juan. And a sliding score for
that's Hicks,
point.
Who just trails away from there. There's a double upline offer there, and both cutters were able to clear enough space for Hicks to take the opportunity. What a great play by Hicks.
And that's great discipline on the part of the Sidewinders, not crowding that space, really taking their turns, running that end zone set, and making sure that there is enough space for folks to come in and get that disc.
We've got 15-11 now, and the time shown in the stadium is 1:52. Sidewinders, upwind break opportunity. Under 2 minutes to go, But based on their last performance, I would not count out the Utah Wild. Signs of life from their offense. And just too much good defense and too many blocks they've shown. Here's Steiner. She'll be on the mark.
I think that's Terpstra.
Steiner on Terpstra.
Sorry, 4-on-4.
Hrushnikova is able to get past Bradley and then send it downfield. Stanislavski now, who's been terrific, finds Hrushnikova across the field with a nifty throw. Bradley trying to push it back away, and it looks like there's a call downfield with a pick. Sidewinders now forcing it so that the disc is going to dive with the wind.
That's smart.
Hrushnikova offering up line. Here's Dunn on the mark against Kendra. Is that 34 Kendra Miller? It is. Wild now in prime position to make something happen. Flipping it up and over. Here's Kendra Miller, who has just been so instrumental in this comeback, and then she finds her teammate.
Able to use that tiny four-side space to get that into the end zone.
Kat Songer. We saw Songer all over the game 2 weeks ago, and here she is again. Sidewinders looking for an offensive hold. The count is 15-12 with 1:09 on the clock. Is it possible to score 3 points in 1 minute? I believe it is.
It's not impossible.
Sidewinders looking to close out what has been a great demonstration of poise in difficult conditions. Applegate to pick up. Applegate, who really took over here and gave the offense some confidence when they needed it. She's going to zip it past Pisani. Pisani almost got her hands on that one. It was almost a catch, I should say. Here's Landry trying to make that deep shot go away. Pisani back again. It's going to be a grab by Kendra Miller. Miller's just going to send it up there. And Pisani's able to cover. Wild looking dangerous here, even in the final moments of this game. 30 seconds to go. Arizona 15-12 as Applegate brings it into play. Looking for Chang. Chang's going to send it to Landry. Landry back to Applegate. Sidewinders working with 16 seconds of clock right now. It's going to go to Gazelle. Nothing happening downfield for the Sidewinders right now. The stack is far away.
Just looking for that clock to run
Final
out.
moments. This does not look like an offense designed to score. It looks like an offense looking to kill time, and that'll wrap it up. That's the end of this fourth quarter and the end of the home opener for the Arizona Sidewinders. Arizona comes away with it 15-12. The home fans love it. LT, the Utah Wild, put up an amazing fight there in the second half. What did you see that worked so well for the Sidewinders in the face of this kind of opposition?
Again, I talk a lot about adjustments because the conditions that you have, good teams push back, good teams adjust to what's in front of them, not just what their game plan is. And, we saw them early on trying to attack that upwind sideline, that upwind end zone with a lot of big throws. That really wasn't working out. And then we saw them adjust using smaller passes, shorter passes to really move the disc down the field.
Yeah, and that moment when there was one or two drops by the Sidewinders, whereas the previous game that they didn't quite pull out, they might have dropped a couple. And this one, they were able to get their composure again, and they were able to actually pull something out. This has been a very impressive late half push by the Sidewinders to really seal this one and bring home the win.
Agreed, and they showed a lot of composure in the third quarter where we really saw the Wild pushing back as well. The Wild gaining a little bit more confidence in that third quarter, making a run. But again, the Sidewinders still being able to pull that out with, with a 3-point lead at the end of that quarter, which, given the conditions and given the way that the Wild was playing, really showed a lot of fortitude with that.
Yeah, I want to talk about a couple players on the Wild for just a second. First off, I mean, Stanislavski was just as impressive, as she's demonstrated previously before. LT, I can't help but point out that Stacey Gaskell, number 44 for the Wild, just had an amazing sequence in that second half, and she was able to really key a really important comeback. And then, of course, Kendra Miller, who has just been such a rock for this team, also did so much work underneath. I just really want to call that out, even though they didn't pull out the game. These players just did some amazing work. I think that really stood out to us. Even though they're not our team, we still appreciate what they were bringing to the table here.
And the Snakes showing some love to their fans.
Landry's looking for a dump.
Here comes the Discraft play of the game.
Things look crowded. Aragon to the rescue. Is there any mystery about what the play of the game is going to be? Aragon's going to bomb it deep. Here's Landry. The wind's going to make it a little more interesting than it could be. Landry's got it. Her feet are in.
Gotta love sacrificing
Landry's
the body
looking for a dump.
for a big score like that.
Landry, things look crowded. Aragon to the rescue. Wild put up a great performance in different
Aragon's going to bomb it deep. Here's Landry. The wind's going to make it a little more interesting than it could be. Landry's got it. Her feet are in.
Turning point. It shut the door. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on YouTube and live. We'll see you at the next Arizona game. Good night.
Thanks, folks. Have a great night.